Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. It is like I feel like I start these videos the same every time. I'm like, oh my god, it's been so long. But honestly, it has been like 2 months and yeah, but besides the point, let's not make this intro long. Today's video is going to be about my first semester at New York University, also known as NYU. There is a YouTuber by the name of Ariana Williams, and she did these videos a lot, especially like her first few years at being at NYU. It was very informative, and as a student that really wanted to attend, I loved it. So I thought I would film my own, so shout out to you, girl. If you guys already don't know, I am in the Tisch program, but I'm gonna talk about just the overall experience of being at NYU, not necessarily just Tisch. So if you're not interested in Tisch, just NYU, this video can still easily be useful for you, so stick around. So we're just gonna start with the beginning of the school year. I already kind of did my first month at NYU video, but so if you haven't seen that, go check it out. Yeah, wow, that already feels like such a long time ago. The move-in process was very interesting. For some reason, there was something going on, like some construction, so my dorm got to move in like a day before everybody else. Like, we had the option to, so that was great. When I was literally trying to get to my dorm, my plane was like, because we flew in the day I had to check in, which was the 24th of August, and so my plane got delayed. It was just horrible. I literally barely made it, but I did. Also, I want to say I did not plan this video before I filmed it. I literally just clicked record, so all of this might be a little scattered, but bear with me, I'm trying. So yeah, move in, it was great. It's pretty well organized, I would like to say, but get there as early as you can. Expect it to take a few hours because, especially if you live in one of the bigger dorms or the more sought after dorms, just getting up and down the elevator. So make sure you have enough time in your day where you can literally devote your day to moving in, because that's what's gonna happen. They also have something really cool where it's like Bed Bath & Beyond, like they rent out Bed Bath & Beyond for a night on move-in night, and like only NYU students. So it's like Bed Bath & Beyond after hours or something. So once it closes, it opens for NYU students, and it's like a party. There's music, everyone's shopping for the dorms, lots of great deals, merch. It's great. I personally didn't get to go this year because of some events that took place, but I would totally suggest doing it because only freshmen can go. So if you have the opportunity, I'd say go. Welcome week was very interesting. Pretty much a bunch of activities for the freshmen to do, get to like meet a bunch of people. Honestly, you're gonna meet so many people. Sorry, my tea. I'm trying to make sure I don't spill it too hard. No, I'm kidding. I honestly have no tea to spill, but well, except my actual tea. So I met a lot of people, but honestly, I never really ended up talking to them again. As sad as that is, that's just my fault not staying in contact, but also you just meet so many people. It's just like an icebreaker for you coming to the school. So the whole first week after you move in, 0 classes, just like orientations and events. Like they have Bob Ross painting night, they have drag night. It's all, that was literally like, it's so hard to get into that. If you can go, go. They just have literally something for everything. They have like Broadway karaoke night, social events, events for just transfer students. They have commuter events, so you can meet your fellow commuters that commute to NYU if you commute. And then they just have like, they have international ones. So like people that are coming to NYU from different places in the world, they get to meet each other. And that's honestly very cool. So yeah, there's something for everyone. We're gonna talk about dorms. I have mixed feelings. I think I got into one of the nicer dorms, I will say that. I am not going to reveal what dorm I'm in this year until I move out because I just don't want any issues. I got into one of the dorms that used to be like a hotel and was like transformed into like a dormitory, and I can say that because there's more than one that happened to that happened to. The dorms do have security guards. They have live-in security guards. If you're worried about that, the security guards are live-in and they're always there. As far as I know, there's no curfew, like where they like don't let you out. I don't know if schools do that. If they do, they're weird, but we don't have curfew, so we can come in and out. But please be careful, because I personally do not partake in these activities, but if you come in at 4 a.m. drunk, they will get you and they will dock you. They will notice. My dorm does not have a kitchen, and honestly, it's so sad because you're constantly just eating dorm food all the time. And honestly, that dorm food all the time just isn't great. One of the dorms failed their health inspection, and that's where I ate. And I remember getting really sick one night, and I was like, oh no. But then again, being able to have meal swipes and going to like the place that you get dorm food, because I just forgot the name of it. It's very good because sometimes it's hard to cook. You're busy. Meal swipes are so accessible and there's a lot of options, but where I live, I'm further away from all the options because I don't live right on Washington Square Park area. I live further away. So all of the places to eat, they're in walking distance, but when it's 8 o'clock at night and it's pitch black outside, well, pitch black, and you're alone, sometimes you just don't want to make that walk. So that's my first thing, is just no kitchens really sucked, but microwavable food's good. If you want your vegetables, just get canned veggies and pop them in a bowl and microwave them. So let's talk about just living with other people. Honestly, my roommate is so freaking sweet. She's adorable, and like, honestly, she keeps her side of the room so much cleaner than I clean mine, and it's so bad. I feel horrible, and I'm not gonna say mine's always like a tornado swept through it, but I'm really bad at keeping my desk clean, and when there's like one big area in your room that's messy, it just makes the whole area look messy. So my roommate, I'm not gonna expose your name. If you're watching this, girl, I'm sorry. I'm working on it. I will say, dorming is great. It's a great option, especially when there's 2 of you. It cuts down the cost of the bill. And if there's 3 of you, even more. But I will say, as an only child, I do like living alone. Sometimes you just want to be able to wear those cute pajamas that you can't wear around other people. Or sometimes you don't want to wear pajamas. I think the other reason that I like living alone is because I genuinely feel so guilty when my room's messy, or like I leave something out, or I just don't have time to like clean up in the morning before I have to leave for my 10-hour day. Like literally I have 0 time to clean sometimes, and I just feel awful. So it's more about the other person than me, but I just don't want to have to always worry about that, if you know what I mean. That's just my personal issues with myself. I was blessed with an amazing roommate, and she's so talented, and we have so much in common. So honestly, it's great. So school starts, again, I'm in Tisch. So the way our schedule is set up freshman year is Monday is a general education day, Tuesday is studio, Wednesday gen eds, Thursday and Friday is studio. And my studio classes are about roughly from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. But now they change the schedule every semester, so now it's 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Let's get into my academic classes, and I'm going to start with this first, just in case I have some people that aren't going to be in Tisch watching. I can just get this part out of the way. My academic classes, I had an essay class, or English class, or literature, whatever you want to call it, and I had my Intro to Theater Productions class. So technically that sounds like 2 classes, which it is, but for my Intro to Theater Productions class, on Monday we had lecture, and on Wednesday we had what I call workshop, but I think they call it resuscitation. But I call it workshop, which is just the hands-on part of it. So the workload was bearable, but I think that's because I got lucky enough to have a teacher that doesn't assign homework every week. It was like we had 3 big projects that we were constantly working on. So that was really nice going into it. I would suggest introducing yourself to your professor, especially on the first day of school, just so they can remember your face, because just a simple introduction, if you need a favor down the road, they'll be like, yeah, I remember you. Thank you. Like, you introduced yourself and we had a conversation, you know, yeah, I will give you that day extension or whatever you need. So the workload's not horrible. I would say make sure you plan and time management. Please have better time management than I had. At the beginning of the year, I was great. Like, I was like, oh my God, I'm at NYU. I have to like be ahead of the game, which was great. I should have kept that mindset. But as the semester went on, things start happening. You get a little more comfortable. You start waiting till last minute to do everything. And it's sad when you've had a month and a half to work on it and you start the night before. So don't be like me. Do your work on time. Also, when you're living in New York City, anything can come up. So you want to make sure your schedule can be as clear as possible so you have the opportunity to, I don't know, go to that Broadway show, go to the hockey game, or the whatever sports we have in New York City. The gen ed classes for Tisch students are fairly light because we spend a lot of time in studio. So to the people that are like, Tisch students, you have it easy. We literally spend 10 hours a day almost in studio with an hour break. While most students that aren't in Tisch, they have like maybe like 3 classes a day, maybe 2. Like they're at school for maybe like 3 hours a day, maybe 4, but not Tisch kids. Tisch is very, it's you have to work on yourself. That's where we get graded, is like self-improvement and where we are. So it's not like, if you're worried, like if you're thinking about going to Tisch and you're like, how are they going to grade us? Like, oh my God, do we have acting homework? Like, yes, it's homework, but it's not pencil and paper. It's memorize your lines or practice with your scene partner. And they can tell if you don't practice because they just know. So make sure you rehearse with your scene partner. Okay, so back on track to like the first few weeks of school. Honestly, getting around, I was like, where am I? It was very challenging at first, but honestly, if you have your GPS and you know the general ways of which the New York City streets work, which is not really hard to figure out the numbers, they just go like this. After, I would say, a week or maybe 2 weeks at the most of going to class, because my studio is not on campus, so I have to commute to my studio. They're like in opposite directions, so like NYU, Washington Square Park is here, studios all the way over here. I had to memorize a few different routes, but honestly, after you get them memorized, it's so easy. And like, if you get to explore New York City before like starting your classes, it'll make life so much easier. So there's that. Make sure you kind of like plan out your schedule. It'd be cool, like before you start, your classes start, walk your route so you know where you have to go so you're not going to be late, because you do not want to be late the first day of school. Because let me tell you, you get into class and you're late, all the seats are taken, everybody's already talking, and then you're just that oddball, and then everybody's look, it didn't happen to me, but I've seen it happen. So I'm gonna get into my experience like with the Tisch now, because honestly, that's where I spent all my time. The beginning of the year for Tisch was amazing. They rented out the place where Wicked is held.
Meeting.
Thanks so much for being here.
They rented out that theater, and we had one of our orientations there for the whole Tisch drama department. It was so amazing. It was insane, honestly. And then they also rented out Radio City Music Hall. It was insane. They had this whole little musical that they put on about like NYU, what to expect, the craziness of NYU, moving to the city for the first time by yourself. It was great. When classes started, like I said, they do a really good, at least my studio did really good at kind of warming us up to what we were going to be doing. Go in with an open mind because there will be classes that you like more than others, but make sure you work just as hard in all of them, because voice and speech is just as important as your acting class, as your stage combat class. So take all of your classes seriously, no matter, which ones are more exciting and hoorah than the others. They are all just as important. Let's get into more of the personal and mental health side of the semester. I started off great. But you have to check your ego and your pride at the door, because I will be honest, I went into NYU and Tisch wanting to be the best at everything, at every class that I had. It puts a fire in your belly, which you should have, and it is great to have. Keep that flame. But I was constantly being told, get the focus off yourself. Get the focus off yourself. Get the focus off yourself and just do the work and stop thinking and being so hard on yourself. And I was very hard on myself. So acting and performing arts in general, is so subjective to who's watching it and to what they think about it. And a lot of people, I believe at the beginning, when you're struggling, or maybe you're doing absolutely amazing, I think we tend to forget that. And then we judge ourselves too hard because we're not doing as good as our other group or as our other peers. But remember, everybody's journey is different. Everybody's going to take more time than the other person. And that's totally okay. I guess I can start with the classes that I'm taking this year. I'm in the Meisner studio at NYU, and the classes that I have are, let's see, stage combat, acting, voice and speech, clown, and Suzuki. Those are the classes that I have. I have never had an acting class a day in my life before I came here to NYU. So I worked my butt off. I felt like when I wasn't getting the results that I wanted instantly, I got really down on myself. And when, I saw that my peers were like having better scenes than I was like, dang, that really sucks. But as time goes on, I realized it's a personal journey, and that's helped a lot. Also, it was really hard with my Suzuki class because it's more of a, I was a dancer, and this is more of a stiffer form in a sense. And so, I'm always wanting to point my toe or be flowy, and I have a way that I know how to move. But this literally like stomped on my face and was like, no, everything that you're not doing that. We're not doing that here. And so that was really hard for me because I was like, yes, I'm killing it. And then my teacher was like, maybe don't point your foot next time, or like, that thing you always do, stop. And that was hard for me. But also I have learned how to take notes from instructors or directors so much better. I don't know, you stop taking it personally after a while and just realize, hey, okay, that's what they want, I'm gonna give it to them. Cool. That's how the industry works. You gotta be able to give people what they want or they're not gonna hire you. You just take it with a grain of salt, you do it, and if it's just really not for you, you don't have to take that note. You probably should, but you don't have to if it's just genuinely something you're not comfortable with. I'm gonna talk about homesickness. I got to go home in October. I went home pretty much every month that I was there, which is crazy. But we had a break like every month. So I was like, I'm going home, I'm going home, I'm going home, and I'm going home. And the first time I went home was in October. I was so happy. I had a great time. And going back, I did not expect to be as sad as I was. And I was in a rut for like 3 weeks. Just sad. Very sad. It's just really hard for me to like not have people in my corner. And even though I'm an only child, but I always have my parents, or like I've always had, I have my boyfriend out here, or like etc. And I didn't have any of that in New York. So I was in a rut for a very, very long time. And allow yourself to be in that, because not too long, maybe 3 weeks was way too long, but if you don't allow yourself to be down, you'll never know what it feels like to be up. And once you get out and you get up, you will realize that you're not there anymore. And it's a great feeling. If you are missing home and you can go home, don't torture yourself. Go home, because once you get to your junior and senior year, you're gonna get to the point where you don't want to go home, and you're gonna be like, I didn't go home freshman year or sophomore year, and then you're gonna be like, when was the last time I went home? So, and your parents are probably gonna miss you, or whoever you lived with if you did. And honestly, but there's a flip side. If you're genuinely like, I hated where I came from, I do not want to go home, then don't go home. But genuinely, if you really miss home, go home if you can. And sometimes you just need to be refreshed and you need to get away from the city. I had 2 years ago, if I would have moved to New York 2 years ago, I would have super, super loved it. But things change over time. And the reason that I'm in New York is solely for the education, and the opportunities, because that's where the theater capital is pretty much. Broadway, that's where I want to be. I want to do Broadway, but it's like, goodness gracious, there's so many people. When you're in a place where there's so many people, but you feel like you don't know any, it can feel extremely lonely. So surround yourself with good people if you can. If you're normally an introvert and you don't really normally socialize, I would suggest, if you're totally chill with that, great. But if you know that you have a problem with being lonely, find some friends, join some clubs, do some extracurriculars, walk in the park, talk to somebody. You don't want to be lonely in New York. I will say that. It's a very, very sad feeling. One other thing that I had a hard time with is I really wanted to be in the new studio on Broadway. That's the musical theater studio, but I ended up in Meisner, which is an acting studio, which is an amazing studio if you can get into it. I love the technique, but I really struggled with not being an NSB because there's still a part of me that feels like I'm missing something, that I'm not getting fully what I want out of my education. But that's just me because I'm picky and like I've been singing and dancing my whole life. But I'm also beginning singing lessons next semester, so that's really nice because I'm gonna gain that aspect of my life back. So I don't have to be an NSB to get these opportunities. You don't have to be an NSB to get those opportunities. You just have to go make them for yourself. NYU and their Steinhardt program, they have a musical theater concentration field. They have voice lessons for non-majors and dance lessons. Now let's talk about like short films and like work. Technically, as a freshman, you are not allowed to audition for any Tisch productions, which is really difficult. There's one thing we can do, and that's called the 24-hour play festival, and you and like 3 other people get together and make a play within 24 hours, and that's literally exactly what it sounds like, and it's great, but it's hard. So I had to memorize like 5 to 6 pages in like an hour, maybe 2, because we didn't get our scripts until the day of the show. Honestly, starting your year with that is kind of great because it puts you in the mode of, wow, I can do this. I can literally do anything, because that's hard and our show turned out. But we are technically not allowed to audition for anything as a freshman, but you could do things outside of Tisch. So I did my first short film. It was a silent, and that was great for me. But again, I've never done film, so it was a little challenging at first because I was like, am I doing this right? Is the shot okay? Did we get what we needed? What about this? How's this angle? How is this? How's the lighting? Does my hair look okay? I probably talked way too much, but it was my first time. I didn't know better. There's other people in my class that I would compare myself to constantly getting more short films. They're like, oh, I'm filming today. I'm filming today. Oh, I have a show. And I'm like, what? And sometimes you compare yourself and you're like, wait, why am I not doing that? Why aren't people looking at my backstage? Why can't I get any jobs when I apply to be in a short film? Why is no one getting back to me? I think the main point of this video when it comes to the Tisch part is stop comparing yourself. Sometimes you need to look at things in a different light. Quality over quantity. Now, I'm not saying, because I haven't seen any of these shorts that my friends have been in, so like, but you rather, instead of you just applying for every job that you see and getting really shady jobs and things that really just aren't gonna benefit you that much, wait for the one right job. And I waited, and the film that I got was amazing. It was a silent. My hair was a little too poofy in it. That was my fault, but it was great. Know that your time will come. Patience is key. I hope you guys got something out of that. If you have any questions, don't be afraid to ask, because seriously, my comments are dry. So if you comment, I will see it, and I will definitely get back to you. Yeah, overall, this semester at NYU has been a journey. It has had its ups and downs. I have cried. Blood, sweat, and tears. I have pulled all-nighters, which you never want to do. It's just taught me a lot. It taught me, don't wait last minute to do your homework. Stop comparing yourself to other people. Address your feelings and learn from them. If it's just constantly going on in your mind, you're not going to be able to produce the best work that you could have produced. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and comment down below to let me know that you like what I had to show, and I'll see you guys on my next video. Bye, guys.